Hey everyone, we just finished week 4 of my year of personal development mentorship, and specifically finished chapter 4 of John Maxwell's 15 Laws of Growth. Week 4 is about reflection. So you've probably heard it said that experience is the best teacher, or we learn from experience. And John Maxwell says it's not experience is the best teacher, but evaluated experience is the best teacher. There are tons of people running around experiencing things in life, but never reflecting and thinking about those things. And therefore they're not learning, they're not changing, and they're not growing. They keep doing the same things over and over again and making the same mistakes. Now, I don't know about you, but I am terrible about making specific time for reflecting. And I keep myself way too busy in general. So there's not nearly enough downtime and not enough time for reflection. But as I was discussing this chapter with a couple of friends last night, we were talking about the idea of incubation, and one of them said percolation. So it's that time when you're not intentionally thinking about something or reflecting on it, but it's still going on in the back of your head, right? Have you ever had a time where you're trying to think of something and you can't come up with it? Right? You're just racking your brain and you're trying so hard and you absolutely can't come up with what you're trying to say. And then like 2 hours later, when you're totally changed topics or you're not even with that same person anymore and it just comes to you, right? Because you stopped thinking about it. And in the back of your brain, your subconscious came up with what you were trying to say. Happens to me all the time. Now, I do have an example of how I have used this incubation, this percolation successfully in my life. And unfortunately, it stems from one of my weaknesses, but that's okay, right? We all have areas that are not the strongest in our life. And if we can reflect and recognize them, then we can make them better. So one of those things for me is I get super overwhelmed by big projects or things that I don't 100% know if I know how to do them. So that has come up a lot this past year, and probably even before that. Basically, my entire educational history. If something is overwhelming, if I don't absolutely know that I can do it right, it becomes just too much. And then what do? I procrastinate until I absolutely can't procrastinate anymore. So last summer, I had to do comprehensive exams. I had to do 3 comprehensive exams, which were basically 20, 25 page papers each. And I had 2 weeks to do it in. And I would receive my exam questions on a Monday. And I would spend the next 2 to 3 days just freaking out over it. And in reality, I knew a lot of the information and I had 2 weeks. I could look up and find the answers to anything else that I needed. But I would, every time, every single one of them, I spent a couple of days just freaking out over how in the world am I going to answer this. And then the next 2 to 3 days, after those days of freaking out, my brain started engaging and saying, okay, this is what I need, this is what I already know, this is what I already have, this is what I need to still find in order to answer this. And once I had gone through that 5 or 6 day period of freaking out and then pulling it together, I could sit down and write it out in about a day or 2. And then I would sleep on it again, let it sit in my brain overnight, think about it, not even really thinking about it, right? But just letting it settle, letting my brain do that work in the background, and then read over it, make any finishing touches, and turn it in. That happened the first question. It happened the second question. By the third question, I just knew that was going to be my process and that was how it was going to work. I am now in the process of trying to start my dissertation, and same thing, it's very overwhelming. And I had a meeting with my committee. It actually went really well. They gave me really positive, constructive feedback, but it's still new and different and things that I've never done before to this degree. And so I had that little moment of freak out, right? There's so much to do. And so my procrastination kind of kicked in, my freak out kicked in. But again, it was all bouncing around in the back of my brain when I wasn't necessarily intentionally trying to think about it. And as a result, I was able to decide which piece to start first, grab that piece and run with it. And so one piece is, I wouldn't say done, but in better shape than it was. And I'm ready to get some feedback on that and start the next piece. So I really hope that you all are better than me at reflecting. If not, that's okay. We all have things we can work on. And I would love to be here to support you. If you read chapter 4, I would love to hear your takeaways and what you got out of it this week. And as I always say, it's never too late to join. So grab the book, 15 Laws of Growth, and read along with us, chapter 5 next week. Thank you and have a great day.